What is going on, guys? So kind of been lacking the videos, but I'll kind of update you here. I've been waiting on leaf springs for like going on 3 weeks now, so I figured might as well start on the engine because I kind of need the engine in because it's going to squat the front of the truck to set the rear, so that way the frame's level. But I decided to use the mounts off the old truck, so I cut off the original mounts to this frame. I'll go over here and show you what I got going on. What I plan to do is trim these brackets, which were originally bolted to the old frame. I put new motor mounts so we're not fighting anything weird there. And then I built this cross member to keep them rigid from side to side. And then that'll also help me once I get these welded to the frame. Then I know how close to the engine I can get for the cross member. You know, that it clears now, so as long as I don't make a cross member taller than that. My leaf springs had shown up when I was putting that engine in, or right after I got it put in. So then I got started back on the rear axle. I had to cut off the overload pads and then the purchase, they need to be moved in because this axle is 42.5 center pin to center pin, and the original axle of this truck was 41. So each side needed to be moved in 3/4 of an inch, and the leaf springs on this truck have a slight angle outward towards the front, so I got the angle in there. Check this out. It's hanging on its own weight. Now just put some wheels on it. Another thing is I'm using the U-bolts from the axle, but it kind of puts them in a weird bind since the purchase used to be on their square with the axle and these are not. So I do plan to run these again, which are from Rough Stuff Specialties, and then I'll use the U-bolts under the axle instead of over the spring like the front. But I need to get U-bolts. Now I know what length to order. So yeah, guess we'll put some wheels on it and see how it looks. Well, it's finally a roller. There's the tires I will be running, so. Came out fairly level. So I think I'll just go ahead and get 5-inch shackles for the rear. And order some U-bolts. You having a good time, puppy dogs? Yeah? Anyway, I got the engine pulled back out of this thing to get started on the cross member. So the one thing I wanted to do was incorporate a cross member with the engine mounts, since the engine mounts are not original to the truck. The only reason I'm building the cross member is because the original front cross member that was in the truck really needs to be cut out, so that way the crossover steering works, and the frame plates I got from WFO Concepts, they weld on and they overlap right here, so this has got to be cut off. So what I've come up with, started with a piece of cardboard, got it fit up in there, gave myself plenty of extra to start kind of designing something, and I came down to basically the size of this 2-inch square tube. My plan is to have tabs that kind of support the engine mount as much as possible and tie into the frame. And then I will cut the 2-inch tube so that way this mount will slide down on the inside just like that. So the bottom half of that mount won't be there. And then figured out my bolt locations to keep it centered in the tube. Well, I would show you. So that'll be welded to the frame. This will be like the passenger side, and then it'll be bolted. And I figured it out to where it would be still in the center of the tube. And then hopefully that will tie the frame rails and the engine mounts together enough that once I cut off the front cross member, it won't be a big deal. And yeah, I have a front cross member for the leaf springs, but I would like to have something else tied into the frame. So pretty happy with how that turned out. So I got the engine mounts all welded in, those tabs incorporated with it. And then this engine mount, I had to make a little filler plate, but I think it'll all work. Now, some more dreaded cutting, but we're getting there. And just like that, the cross member is gone. So it probably took me a couple hours, but got it out, ground everything smooth, and then I fitted the WFO Concepts frame plates, and that really cleans up the look. I'm very happy with how those cleaned up the frame rails. Very, very nice. Looks a lot better with a little bit of black paint on there. I'm gonna get this set back down in there.